Can I have Jordan, Shyla, Jason, Metzley, Jocelyn, and Yareli? Can you come on over?
The Common Core standards, and most specifically the ELD framework, have put on us the rigorous demands to meet the needs of English learners in the context of the regular curriculum. And the way in which we do that is through both integrated ELD and designated ELD.
Share your opinion as to whether this source is trustworthy or not. Don't forget to use evidence. Say evidence.
Evidence.
Okay, so we've been working on boxes and bullets, and the box is your what?
Opinion.
Your opinion. And right now we're gonna call it reason. Everybody say reason.
Reason.
The R is for reason. And anytime you see these bullets, what does that mean? You're gonna give your
Opinion.
evidence. Okay, so I'm just gonna write an E for every bullet point. Okay, so reasons and evidence. And so that's what we're gonna work on today, because later on we're gonna go over a mini lecture and you're gonna learn about a whole story, and you're gonna have to give reasons and evidence, okay? So this is our academic process journal that we're gonna work on together. Do you see this? See how it's the same? Boxes and bullets, reasons and evidence, yes?
So designated ELD and integrated ELD are meant to work synergistically. Whatever is done during designated ELD should be related to what's happening during the rest of the day, integrated ELD.
Thumbs up if you agree with the principal's policy to shorten recess, or thumbs down if you disagree. Thumbs up or thumbs down.
In this situation, Jenny was in the middle of a larger unit on journalism with a group of 4th and 5th grade students.
So if you don't want to shorten recess, what do you use recess for?
To play.
To play. Okay, so I'm going to write that down. Play. Everybody say play.
Play.
Okay, what else do we use recess for?
I talked about that. We have more time to eat.
Time to eat, okay?
She needed to front load some of the higher order thinking. Specifically, she was going to be asking the whole class to be taking notes using graphic organizers. And so she wanted to be sure that the English learners in the class understood how to use those graphic organizers. She practiced with content that would be familiar to the kids so that they weren't grappling with both a higher order thinking skill and new content. And she modeled.
So I have play, I have eat. What else? Jocelyn?
Because we need to take a break.
Yeah, you need a break. You need to rest your brain, right? Yeah, okay. And then last one.
Exercise. Exercise.
Exercise. Yeah, you need time to exercise.
She then released part of that group back to their seats to join their classmates in a lesson that they were working on, while she held back a smaller group of English learners who needed additional support, in this case, front-loading of content and vocabulary so that they were able to access the content of the lesson in the whole group instruction.
When they went to school and they wore these armbands, they got punished for it. They got suspended. Can you believe that? Were they doing anything wrong? No, they got suspended for, do you know what suspended means? What does suspended mean? Yes.
Suspended means that you get out of school.
Yeah, it's like big trouble. They don't want you to come to school for for them, it was a week, okay? So they got suspended, and then they decided that they were gonna continue to not to fight, like physical fight, but they were gonna still stand up for their right to freedom of speech. So they decided they went to court, and so this decision went all the way up to the Supreme Court. Say Supreme Court.
Supreme Court.
Do you know what Supreme Court is?
It's the court that is the highest court.
That set those kids up then to be able to join the whole class for the mini lecture.
So we're gonna actually specifically be focusing on freedom of speech right now in our mini lecture, okay? In 1965, President Johnson increased military troop presence in the Vietnam War.
One of our goals with designated ELD is to ensure that English learners are set up for success. So we always want to be thinking about what's coming for them and where do we need to provide them some supports, some scaffolds, so that in the context of a regular lesson, they're able to gain the knowledge and participate along with their peers.
What does it mean when you suspend someone?
When you do something bad, but then the principal punishes you.
And what do you have to do?
You have to leave school and not come back for about 5 or 3 days.
Yeah, you have to leave school and not come back.
Oftentimes, the happy consequence is that not only are they successful during regular instruction, but they're also shining as leaders in understanding the content with their peers.
What I want you to think about right now, because we're going to do a think, pair, share, so you're going to talk amongst your table or you talk with your partners. Why do you think the principal of the schools did not want the students to participate in the protest? Okay, so that's what you're going to think about. Go ahead and turn and talk to a neighbor.
So we know that English language learners are grappling with two things during any whole class lesson. They're grappling with the content demands, what is the information that they're supposed to be learning, and they're grappling with language demands.
So the principal didn't want any problems?
So using Think, Pair, Share as a way to listen in on how the students are doing and use that as a formative piece of assessment to guide your instruction are all critical pieces that make the content and the language accessible for our English learners.
Why did the principal not want those peaceful protests to happen?
So the principal didn't want to deal with any problems.
So yeah, the principals they didn't want any problems. Do you know what we call that? We say avoid controversy. Say avoid controversy.
Avoid controversy.
What we saw very clearly was how that small amount of support gave those kids enough of a head start or a step up in order to not only successfully participate in the lesson, but in many places be the leaders at their table group and in the whole class.
They wrote a letter to the president and wore wristbands. And they wrote a letter. They got suspended because they wore the wristbands at school.
What we need to do is we need to create complete sentences and use something called transition words. Can you say transition words?
Transition words.
Yeah, say transition words.
Transition words.
Yeah, that's a long word.
Subsequently, following the lesson, she knew that she had a couple of other things that she really wanted to work on with a couple of groups of kids.
You could say, for example. Say that with me. For example. Or you can say, for instance.
She wanted to work on developing their use of transition words, and this shows up for us in the ELD standards around cohesion. And so when we're thinking about being able to articulately express evidence as it relates to reasons or opinions, having those transition words like for instance or moreover are critical pieces of academic language that the kids need to have and they need explicitly taught to them so that they're able to not only produce that orally and in writing, but also access that and make meaning when they come across it in text.
Would somebody like to pick one? Metzley?
For example?
For example. Okay, so which one would you like to talk about?
For example, you can play with your friends.
Okay, so for example, you can play with your friends. Can we all say that together? For example, you can play with your friends.
Furthermore, you have time to eat snacks.
Can we say that together? Furthermore, you have time to eat your snacks. And then, can you pick the last one?
For instance, you can do exercise.
For instance, you can exercise. Yes? Okay, so let's do it again. For instance, you can exercise. So we're gonna start with you and then we're gonna go down this way, okay? So let's start with this one. I disagree with the principal's policy to shorten recess because it's important.
For instance, you can do exercise.
Furthermore, you have time to eat your snacks. For example, you can play. Another reason is you can get a brain break.
A teacher's ability to adapt, to be flexible, to pull different groups, different sizes of groups, different clusters of groups for different purposes is what makes it incredibly powerful. And when we're thinking about our English learners first and giving them a leg up so that they can find success in their classroom, that yields dividends down the road.
How many of you speak Spanish? All of you. Oh, all of you except for me. Okay, so I have a sentence that I want you all to help me translate, okay? So the sentence is, I eat healthy foods so that I can be strong. Can you translate that into Spanish for me?
In the ELD standards, there's actually a Part 3 that calls for the use of students' foundational skills in their primary language.
I eat healthy foods
Yo como comida saludable
so that I can be
para que yo
strong.
pueda ser fuerte.
What is it? So that I can be strong?
Para ser fuerte. Para ser fuerte. Para ser
Okay.
fuerte.
So in Spanish, it directly translates to para ser, yes? But in English, we don't say I eat healthy foods for I can be strong. We say I eat healthy foods so that I can be strong, or in order for me to be strong.
What we saw beautifully done today with Jenny, a teacher who does not speak Spanish, in an SEI classroom was to still find ways to provide an opportunity for students to access their primary language as a way to deepen their English.
For instance, we need more recess time in order to play with friends. Do you see how you need this in order to? It doesn't sound right if you add for.
We need more recess time. Another reason, nah, that doesn't sound good. So that we can play.
Okay. You need your transition word, yes. Okay, go ahead and try to read it together.
Furthermore, we need more recess time so that we can play.
For example, we need more recess time in order to play with friends.
We saw the kids come alive in that moment where they were able to access their linguistic resources, and it really honored what they brought to the table and provided a rich environment for that to happen, but also deepened their English as a consequence.
You have all done a fantastic job thinking about our content, using critical thinking skills to think about our reasons and opinions and our evidence, and you're using sophisticated language. I really appreciate it. Give yourselves a pat on the back. Thank you.